viewers. In this video I'm going to look at the difference between using a ring light and using a softbox lantern and do a demonstration on what that does to your image quality. It's difficult to overstate how much difference having good lighting makes. Now I'm recording this on the Nikon Z6iii. I'm using the 24 to 70mm f4 zoom lens at f4 with focal length set to 24mm. So that's background. I'm recording in 5.4K at 25 frames per second. That's how I'm recording here. Now here, as you can probably see, I have absolutely no control over the lighting other than to alter my position and adjust settings on the camera. But in a studio situation, if you're recording yourself in the studio, you have the ability to completely control the environment. Now in the studio, you have a couple of options. You could use lighting from a window, so natural light, or you could use a 3-point lighting setup. So you might then want to shut out the window altogether, or you might simply balance your lighting against the light coming in the window. But there is a downside to window lighting. It doesn't work particularly well when it's dark outside. Anyway, what I want to do in this video is to show you the difference that it makes upgrading from a 12-inch, that's 30cm-ish, ring light to a softbox lantern. Now, the thing I like about the softbox lantern is it doesn't look too obtrusive in the room because it's white, or at least if you have white walls, it's not too obtrusive in the room. So let's get back into the studio and see what the difference is between a ring light and a softbox lantern. And my action camera is recording the full studio scene, so you can actually see the lighting setup, at least as far as it's possible to do that on a wide-angle lens. In this angle you can see the tube lights which are facing the back wall. So I'm doing these tests on two phones. The first one is the one I'm recording on now, which is the Samsung Galaxy S23. And I'm recording this in early 2026, so it's a 3-year-old smartphone. If you're just starting out recording videos, you're probably going to be using your smartphone, and you're probably not going to buy a smartphone just to do it. You're probably going to use what you have. I'm also going to use my other phone, which is an Apple iPhone 13, which I think is 2 years older than the Samsung. But I find the cameras are similar. I find the cameras work fine for these studio talking headshots. I have a Nikon Z6iii that provides a much better image. So the first thing I need to say is these lights are not identical. The softbox lantern's a bit brighter. It's also out of necessity placed a bit higher because I can't easily place the lights in the same position and then do the comparison. But I still think the comparison's quite interesting because of the effect the lighting has on your skin tones. Now behind me I have a couple of tube lights. These are LED tube lights. Lights in the background, they don't really affect your skin tones because the key light, which is either going to be the ring light or the softbox lantern, are direct onto my face, whereas the other lights are obviously behind me. So what we need to look at is the effect that the lights have on skin tones. So what I'm looking for is that I expect the ring light to give a harder look. It's a fairly hard light. And the softbox lantern should give a much softer, more pleasing look. So this is the recording on the Samsung Galaxy S23. I'm going to put these recordings side by side so you can see the difference between the two. This is what it looks like on my iPhone 13. This is not the Pro model, this is just the normal model. The lighting, of course, is from slightly different angles because the phones are in slightly different places, but that should make the comparison perhaps a bit more interesting. So this is the ring light. Back to Samsung, this is the ring light. Now let's turn the ring light off and put the softbox lantern on. Now I'm on the Samsung Galaxy S23. I have the softbox lantern on. By the way, for recording, I'm using the Blackmagic camera app on both phones, starting and stopping it using the Blackmagic camera app on my iPad, which is just in front of me. Now, what that allows me to do is I can monitor the recordings from both phones I can change the settings on both phones, so it controls and monitors, and it just makes the whole process a lot easier. Looking at the Samsung S23 side by side, ignoring the colour differences which are caused by the Softbox Lantern being a lot stronger, it's immediately apparent that the Softbox Lantern just produces a far better image and gets rid of the harshness and over-sharpening on Samsung S23. So that's what it looks like on Samsung Galaxy S23. Looking at the side by side, it's immediately obvious that the Softbox Lantern simply gives a much warmer, nicer image. I think you have less harsh shadows, which helps with skin texture. And the other thing, of course, is the Softbox Lantern tends to overpower the background lighting to a certain extent because it diffuses quite well. I'm now repeating the exercise on my Nikon Z6iii. The moment we have the ring light on, one problem is that the ring light is not as bright, even on maximum brightness, as the newer Softbox Lantern is at 50% brightness, which is how I typically record. And I don't want to change the softbox, particularly because it's nicely balanced with the rest of the lighting at the minute. On the Nikon Z6iii, I'm recording 4K at 25 frames per second, and I'm in the base ISO. I could probably use a second base for this, but probably not for the softbox. Now the Nikon, of course, gives a rather nicer image, in my opinion, than either phone. I'm now going to switch the lighting over and we'll see what the difference is. I should add that on the Nikon Z6iii I'm recording in N-Log, so that's a 10-bit format, and that allows me to have more flexibility in colour grading afterwards. So this is now with the newer Softbox Lantern, and we'll see what the difference is when I do the edit. So what I'm going to do in the edit is to put the files side by side, and then you can see the differences. One of the big problems with the ring light, if you wear glasses, is immediately apparent because it's a hard light, it reflects off the glasses. I think the other thing though is ignoring the colour differences, the image is just much nicer with the Softbox Lantern and much more pleasing image overall. Thank you for watching. I hope you found the video useful. If you did, please click on the like and subscribe buttons. Have a fantastic day.